silence me. They thought $500 million would break my spirit. They thought a courtroom filled with their flags, their robes, and their colonial arrogance would make me bow my head like a schoolboy caught stealing lunch. They were wrong. The moment Judge Thomas announced that astronomical fine, something shifted in that room. Not just in me, but in everyone watching. Because what happened next wasn't just a legal proceeding. It was the moment Africa found its voice in the very heart of their system. Judge Thomas, you may wear those robes, you may sit behind that bench carved from wood stolen from African forests, but you do not have my submission. You never will. $500 million. Do you even comprehend what those numbers mean when they leave your mouth? Do you understand the weight of that sentence when it lands on the shoulders of my people? That's not just money to us. That's not some abstract figure in your colonial ledger books. That fine you just announced, it's the face of every child in Burkina Faso who will never see the inside of a classroom. It's every mother who will watch her baby die because she can't afford medicine that costs pennies to produce. It's every village that will remain in darkness while our uranium powers the lights of Paris. You fine me for refusing to let you steal, then you call me the thief. You punish me for protecting what belongs to my ancestors, then you lecture me about the rule of law. But here's what terrifies you most, Judge Thomas. I'm not backing down. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. What law are you even talking about? A law that bends like a reed for the powerful and snaps like a dry branch for the weak. That's not justice. That's tyranny in expensive clothing, decorated with the false dignity of these proceedings. You accuse me of violating contracts. Guilty as charged. I violated every single contract signed by cowardly leaders who sold my people's future for photo opportunities and Swiss bank accounts. I tore up every agreement that handed 90% of our gold to foreign corporations while leaving my people fighting over crumbs. And if protecting Burkina Faso's resources from your legalized robbery makes me a criminal in your eyes, then I will wear that badge with honor until my last breath. But here's what you failed to calculate, Judge Thomas. Here's where your colonial mathematics breaks down completely. Do you honestly believe this fine will make me surrender the mines that feed our children? Do you think it will force me to hand over the fields that grow our future? My people have been stripped of everything before. Our land, our dignity, even our names carved away by foreign tongues. Yet we survived. We rebuilt. We planted seeds in earth scorched by your empires and watched them bloom into nations. You cannot bankrupt the human spirit, no matter how many zeros you add to your sentences. Behind all your legal language, breach of contract, international obligations, damages, strip away the sophisticated words, and what's left? The same colonialism my great-grandfather faced when French soldiers told him he had to pay taxes for living on the land his ancestors had worked for 1,000 years. The only difference now is that you've replaced rifles with court orders, soldiers with lawyers, and stamped seals with judicial signatures. But the theft remains the same, dressed in the false respectability of these proceedings. Let me be crystal clear about something, Judge Thomas. I will not pretend to respect a court that shows no respect for my people. Respect is earned through justice, not demanded through intimidation. My oath wasn't sworn to your flags or your institutions. My loyalty belongs to the red soil of Burkina Faso, to children who run barefoot through villages your corporations have never bothered to electrify, to elders whose weathered hands shaped this land before your empire ever dreamed of touching it. When I was young, my father would tell me stories by firelight about our heroes. He spoke of Thomas Sankara, who taught us that he who feeds you controls you. He told me about Patrice Lumumba, who promised that history will one day have its say. He shared the names of countless men and women who resisted colonial rule with nothing but courage burning in their hearts. Now I understand. I'm walking in their footsteps, and Judge Thomas, by placing me in this defendant's chair, you haven't shamed me. You've honored me by putting me in the same fight they fought. I know exactly why I'm here. This court doesn't exist to protect justice. It exists to protect your interests. You want every African leader watching this proceeding to look at my situation and think, if they can find Traoré $500 million, what will they do to me? You're gambling on fear, but you're going to get the opposite. You're going to get defiance spreading like wildfire across a continent that's finally waking up. For centuries, you've ruled over us. You extracted our gold, our diamonds, our oil. You turned our coffee into your luxury, our cocoa into your comfort. You stole our people as slaves, recruited our children as soldiers, displayed our cultures like curiosities in your museums. And now you have the breathtaking arrogance to drag us to court for the crime of wanting our own resources back. You're like a thief who robs a man's house, then sues him for damages because he dared to change the locks. I need my people to hear this clearly. In Burkina Faso, in Mali, in Niger, across every border that colonial maps carved through our communities. This fine isn't about Ibrahim Traoré, the man. It's about Africa, the continent. It's their message to every one of us. Don't resist. Don't think independently. Don't lead. Here's my response. We will resist. We will think. We will lead. And we will win. They demand we honor colonial debts, colonial contracts, colonial trade rules that keep us perpetually dependent, but they've never honored the debt they owe us, the debt of centuries of stolen wealth, stolen lives, stolen futures. If we calculated what Europe and America truly owe Africa, your $500 million would be pocket change. They owe us trillions in stolen resources. They owe us the return of every life destroyed by their greed. But we don't drag them to court. We drag them to the judgment of history, and history will be far harsher than any earthly judge. Judge Thomas, announce your sentence. Write your numbers in your ledger books. Threaten my country with sanctions, embargoes, whatever weapons your empire still commands. But understand this with absolute clarity. We will not pay. Not today, not tomorrow, not in 10 years, not in a century. If you want the wealth of Burkina Faso, you'll have to come and take it with your own hands, and you'll discover that my people's hands are ready and waiting. Freeze our accounts, we'll build our own banking systems, blacklist our leaders, we'll raise new ones from the soil like crops after rain. Cut us off from your trade, we'll trade with each other, with Asia, with Latin America, with anyone who treats us as equals rather than colonial subjects. The era when Africa's destiny was written in European capitals is ending. Now it will be written in Ouagadougou, in Bamako, in Accra, by African hands for African futures. And to the youth, the young men and women whose eyes are on this moment, I'm speaking directly to you now. Don't let their robes intimidate you. Don't be shaken by the flags they wave or the cameras they point in your direction. Don't be blinded by the headlines their newspapers will write tomorrow. These are just tools of intimidation, chains for the modern age, invisible, silent, polished, but chains nonetheless. They'll call you radical for wanting your freedom. They'll call you extremist for refusing to bow down. They'll call you dangerous for thinking independently. Good. Wear those labels like armor. In their vocabulary, radical means someone who won't surrender their dignity. Extremist means someone who can't be bought. Dangerous means someone they cannot control. If that's what you are, then never apologize for it. They'll look you in the eyes and swear that independence is impossible. They'll insist with absolute confidence that Africa cannot survive without their aid, their loans, their benevolent approval. They speak with the same certainty as a jailer convincing a prisoner that life outside the cell is impossible. But my young brothers and sisters, the door has always been open. The cell was never locked. What keeps us inside isn't iron bars. It's the mental chains they've welded into our thinking. Their aid isn't generosity, it's a leash. And every leash serves one purpose, keeping you exactly where the master wants you. They give us wheat while taking our gold. They provide medicine while stealing our oil. They fund development projects that employ their companies, their engineers, their workers while our youth stand unemployed in the streets. Then they expect gratitude, but you weren't born to wear a leash, you were born to run free. Your destiny isn't to be forever developing while others remain forever developed. Your purpose isn't to supply raw materials for someone else's empire. Your future isn't to migrate desperately to foreign lands because your own continent has been stripped of opportunity. Your destiny is here, on this soil, under this African sun, beneath these vast skies that belong to you. You ask how we break free? We start in the mind. Before we build roads, factories, armies, we must rebuild our thinking. We must unlearn the lies they've taught us since childhood. Unlearn the belief that white approval is the measure of progress. Unlearn the idea that English or French is the only language of success. Unlearn the poison that our culture is backward, our history irrelevant, our traditions obstacles to overcome. Here's the truth they'll never teach in their schools. Africa has never been poor. Africa is the richest continent on earth, but the poorest in freedom. That poverty of freedom is what allows them to rob us blind. The day we reclaim our freedom, we won't need their aid, their loans, their condescending pity. We'll stand on our own legs, and the world will be forced to deal with us as equals. Don't let them terrify you with displays of power. They have armies, we have people. They have banks, we have land. They have media, we have truth. They have courts, we have history. And history is the final judge. Every empire before them believed it would last forever. The Romans thought so. The British thought so. The French thought so. Where are they now? Their empires are museum exhibits, their power reduced to stories in history books. Why? Because no empire can outlast the will of a people determined to be free. I know some of you think, but Traoré, we're young. We have no weapons, no wealth, no influence. Listen carefully. You have something far greater. You have time, you have numbers, and you have fire in your hearts. If the youth of Africa decide today that they will no longer be silent, no court on earth can contain that decision. But be prepared. They'll try to buy you with scholarships, contracts, comfortable positions in their institutions. They'll offer you golden collars and call them opportunities. They'll smile as they slip the chains around your neck and convince you it's jewelry. Refuse it. Not because comfort is evil, but because comfort purchased with silence is slavery. Refuse it not because you hate them, but because you love your people more. When they threaten you, when they point to leaders like me and say, "Look, we destroyed him, we'll destroy you too," smile. The fact that they must threaten you proves they fear you, and fear is the beginning of their defeat. African youth, I'm not asking you to wait for leaders to save you. Leaders are only as strong as the people supporting them. If you want powerful leaders, become a powerful people. Organize yourselves, educate yourselves beyond what their schools teach. Learn your real history, your languages, your land, its rivers, minerals, seasons, so thoroughly that no foreigner can claim to know it better than you do. Build networks that cross every border. Connect with your brothers in Ghana, your sisters in Kenya, your cousins in Haiti, your friends in Brazil. Remember, Africa isn't just a continent. Africa is a people scattered by history but united by destiny. If you take nothing else from my words today, remember this. You are not the future. You are the present. They tell you that someday when you're older, you'll lead. No, lead now. If you wait for the perfect moment, it will never arrive. The struggle is happening now. The responsibility is yours now. The freedom we dream of won't be handed to us by those who profit from our chains. It must be seized, not with hatred, but with courage, unity, and unbreakable will. So let them call you radical. Let them call you dangerous. Let them use whatever labels make them feel safer. When the history of this century is written, it won't remember every judge who passed every sentence, but it will remember the generation that finally said, enough. It will remember the young Africans who stood up not just for themselves, but for all those yet to be born. And I know, not believe, but know, that you are that generation. When they ask how I can stand here and defy a court that can take everything from me, I tell them, you cannot take from a man who stands on truth. You cannot bankrupt a man who owes you nothing. You cannot silence a man who speaks for millions. So Judge Thomas, sign your judgment, announce your victory to your newspapers, celebrate your colonial mathematics, but understand this, you haven't silenced me. You've given me a microphone. You haven't broken me. You've forged me stronger. And you haven't intimidated Africa. You've awakened her. When the day comes, and it will come, when Africa stands united with her own currency, her own army, her own institutions, your courts will be irrelevant. Your fines will be meaningless. Your power will be nothing but memory. And we will remember this day not as the day you defeated us, but as the day you proved to the world that we were right to fight. Because this fight isn't ending today, it's just beginning. The revolution will not be televised, but it will be victorious. And $500 million? That's not the price of our defeat. That's the cost of your desperation. We will not pay. We will not bow. We will not break. Africa is rising, and no court on earth can stop what's coming.